You're staring at a wall of science kits online. Your kid's outgrown the baking soda volcano phase, and you're thinking, okay, what's next? What actually prepares them for real science? Here's the thing. Most families skip right past the sweet spot where kids can contribute to actual research, not just mess around with colorful liquids. I'm Lakshmi Venkataraman, a national board-certified middle school science educator with a master's in curriculum and instruction. I've spent years translating the next generation science standards into learning experiences that actually work at home. And today, we're tackling exactly how to match citizen science kits to your child's current skill level so they're doing genuine research, not just playing scientist. You're listening to the STEM Lab podcast. Quick heads up before we get going. Everything you're about to hear, the research, the data, the script, it's all been written and verified by actual human educators. But the voice you're hearing right now is AI generated. Just wanted to be upfront about that. Now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, thank you, really. It's great knowing you keep coming back as we work through building effective home STEM education. And if you're new here, welcome. We drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each one focused on helping you make smart, informed decisions about STEM learning tools and approaches for your kids. Today, we're tackling a question I get constantly. How do you actually choose a citizen science kit when your kid's somewhere between volcano experiments and legitimate research? Let's get into it. You're standing in that crucial moment when your child has outgrown simple science toys but isn't quite ready for full laboratory equipment. Learning how to choose a citizen science kit bridges this gap beautifully. These kits transform curiosity into genuine research contribution while building data literacy, field methodology, and scientific reporting skills. In this guide, I'll walk you through a systematic process for matching citizen science kits to your child's current capabilities, technical infrastructure, and learning trajectory. You'll learn to evaluate sensor accuracy requirements, assess programming prerequisites, identify which platforms align with next-generation science standards practices, and distinguish between starter observation kits and advanced environmental monitoring systems. By the end, you'll have a clear framework for selecting tools that position your young scientist as an actual contributor to professional research databases, not just someone collecting data into a void. Time commitment is about 45 minutes to work through this selection framework. The skill outcome? You'll be able to confidently select kits that build sequential research competencies, from basic data collection through statistical analysis. So first, what you'll need before you begin evaluating specific kits. Gather these resources to make informed compatibility decisions. You'll want your current home lab infrastructure assessment. If you need help with that, there's a link below to a complete audit checklist on what makes a home STEM lab. You'll also need a device inventory, computers or tablets with OS versions, available USB ports, Wi-Fi capabilities. Document your child's programming background, languages they've learned like Scratch, Python, block-based coding, projects they've completed. Get your space specifications down, outdoor access for field sensors, dedicated indoor workstation dimensions. Know your internet connectivity details, bandwidth for cloud data platforms, whether you need offline capability. Break down your budget, initial kit cost, recurring consumables, potential subscription fees. And create a learning goals document, skills to develop over the next 6 to 12 months, career interests to explore. You'll also want to review your child's existing understanding of the scientific method, data collection protocols, and measurement precision. These foundational concepts dramatically affect which kit complexity level will feel appropriately challenging rather than frustrating. Now, let's talk about assessing your child's current research skill foundation. Before you even look at product specifications, you need an honest evaluation of where your child stands on the research methodology spectrum. I've watched hundreds of sixth graders struggle with this exact misconception. They think doing science means mixing colorful liquids, when actual scientific practice centers on systematic observation, controlled variables, and replicable protocols. Map their current capabilities across these research competencies. Start with observation skills. Can they distinguish between qualitative descriptions and quantitative measurements? Do they naturally notice patterns, or do they need significant scaffolding to identify trends? The difference determines whether you start with photo documentation biodiversity kits or jump straight to sensor-based quantitative monitoring. Look at data collection discipline. Have they successfully maintained a consistent observation schedule for previous projects? Citizen science demands regular, long-term data collection, sometimes daily readings over months. If your child abandons experiments after the novelty wears off, you need kits with built-in engagement scaffolds like gamified data submission or visible progress tracking toward research milestones. Check their measurement precision understanding. Do they grasp significant figures, calibration needs, and measurement error? Environmental monitoring kits require understanding that 23.4 degrees Celsius and 23 degrees Celsius represent different precision levels. This concept typically solidifies around age 10 or 11, making it a natural gatekeeper for advanced sensor kits. Assess technology comfort, both hardware and software dimensions. Can they troubleshoot basic connectivity issues, navigate file systems to locate saved data, follow multi-step calibration procedures independently? The BBC Microbit version 2 represents a good inflection point. Check the link below to see the current price. Comfortable microbit users can typically handle most citizen science kit interfaces. Your honest assessment here prevents the classic mistake I see constantly: parents buying impressive-looking environmental monitoring stations for children who haven't yet mastered basic weather observation journaling. Moving on to identifying age-appropriate scientific practices and standards alignment. How to choose a citizen science kit becomes clearer when you understand which next-generation science standards, science and engineering practices your child should be developing at their current stage. Citizen science kits aren't just data collection tools, they're scaffolded practice environments for professional research behaviors. Elementary learners, ages 6 to 9, should focus on kits that build foundational practices, making observations, recording data in organized formats, and recognizing patterns. The Project Feeder Watch kit from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology exemplifies this beautifully. Check the link below to see the current price. Children identify species, count individuals, and submit observations through a simplified interface. No sensors, no programming, just disciplined observation translated into structured data formats. These kits develop skill milestones, including species identification using field guides, systematic counting protocols, differentiating between observation and inference, and understanding that their individual data contributes to larger data sets. They're typically offline capable after initial setup, requiring only periodic internet access for data submission. Middle school learners, ages 10 to 13, need kits that introduce measurement tools, calibration concepts, and basic statistical thinking. This is when sensor-based platforms become appropriate. There's a link below about understanding data literacy through citizen science that walks through this pathway. Children learn that sensors require calibration, environmental factors affect readings, and data visualization reveals patterns invisible in raw numbers. Look for kits supporting practices like using mathematics and computational thinking and analyzing and interpreting data. Environmental monitoring platforms using Arduino or microbit fit perfectly, especially models where students must calibrate sensors against known standards before field deployment. High school learners, ages 14 to 18, should work with kits that mirror actual research protocols, experimental design, controlled variables, statistical significance testing, and formal scientific reporting. They're ready for platforms requiring programming decisions between Arduino versus microbit for citizen science. There's a comparison guide linked below, custom sensor configurations, and data analysis using industry-standard tools like R or Python libraries. The progression matters enormously. Jumping too far ahead creates frustration and procedural confusion, while staying too long in observation-only kits delays development of quantitative reasoning skills. Now let's get into evaluating technical infrastructure and compatibility requirements. This step prevents the disappointment of buying a sophisticated monitoring kit only to discover your household technology can't support it. Citizen science kits span an enormous range of technical dependency, from completely standalone observation tools to cloud-dependent sensor networks requiring specific operating systems. Create a compatibility matrix comparing these factors. Programming environmental requirements. Does the kit require Scratch, which is web-based, runs on most systems, suitable for age 8 and up? MakeCode, offline capable, works with microbit and Circuit Playground Express. Arduino IDE requires driver installation, text-based, typically age 12 and up. Python with specific libraries needs command line comfort. Match this against your child's current programming background and your available hardware specs. Operating system limitations. Many environmental sensor kits have Mac, Windows, Linux compatibility issues. The SenseCap platform, for example, offers more reliable drivers for Windows systems. Chrome OS compatibility remains spotty across citizen science platforms. Verify explicitly if Chromebooks are your primary devices. Connectivity dependencies. Distinguish between kits that require constant cloud connectivity versus those that log data locally for periodic upload. If you're monitoring a location without reliable Wi-Fi, a backyard weather station, remote trail camera for wildlife observation, local logging becomes non-negotiable. There's an environmental sensor calibration checklist linked below that can help you understand which sensors demand real-time connectivity. Power requirements. Battery-operated field sensors need clear specifications on battery life under actual use conditions, not just standby. Solar-powered stations require minimum daily sun exposure hours. USB-powered desktop monitors need available ports that aren't already occupied by other learning tools. Data platform ecosystem. Where does collected data actually go? Some kits submit to established research databases like iNaturalist, eBird, Globe Observer, providing immediate research contribution validation. Others store data locally, requiring you to find appropriate submission channels. The motivational difference is substantial. Children stay engaged longer when they see their observations appearing on real research maps. Expandability deserves special attention. Can the kit grow with your child's skills? Does it accept additional sensors as they advance? Is there a clear progression path from starter configuration to advanced research-grade deployment? Now we're ready to actually match kit complexity to current capability level. The goal isn't finding the best citizen science kit overall, it's finding the optimal challenge level that stretches your child's current capabilities without overwhelming them. Each kit should feel achievable but not trivial. Level 1. Observation and documentation kits, ages 6 to 10, no prior research experience. These require no sensors, no programming, no calibration. Success depends entirely on observation discipline and identification accuracy. Beyond birdwatching kits, consider phenology monitoring, tracking seasonal changes in specific plants, cloud observation protocols through Globe Observer, or astronomy observation journals contributing to light pollution mapping projects. Skill-building focus includes species or phenomenon identification, systematic observation scheduling, data recording in standardized formats, differentiating between observation and interpretation. These kits prepare children for sensor-based work by establishing data collection discipline before adding technical complexity. Lab specs are straightforward. Field notebooks or tablets for photo documentation, internet access for periodic data submission, typically weekly, identification guides, either print or app-based, no power requirements, no calibration, minimal cost beyond initial materials, usually under $50, sometimes completely free. Level 2, single sensor monitoring kits, ages 9 to 13, basic programming exposure. These introduce one environmental parameter, temperature, light levels, soil moisture, air pressure, with digital measurement replacing observational estimation. The cognitive leap involves understanding sensors as measurement tools requiring calibration and having defined accuracy ranges. Platforms using micro.bit or Circuit Playground Express work well here because the programming remains block-based. There's a detailed comparison of the best micro.bit citizen science kits linked below. Children learn to code data logging routines, set measurement intervals, and export data to spreadsheets for basic graphing. Skill-building focus covers sensor calibration concepts, understanding measurement precision and accuracy, identifying appropriate sampling intervals, creating time series graphs, recognizing how environmental factors affect readings. Lab specs include computer or tablet with USB port for programming and data download, Make code or Scratch compatibility, that's Windows 10 and later, Mac OS 10.13 and later, or browser-based, battery pack or USB power supply, weather-appropriate enclosure if deployed outdoors. Typical cost is $60 to $120 for complete starter kit. Level 3, multi-parameter environmental monitoring stations, ages 12 to 16, comfortable with text-based programming. These systems measure multiple variables simultaneously: temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, light levels, air quality indices, requiring understanding of how parameters interrelate. Programming often involves Arduino IDE or Python, introducing text-based coding with more complex syntax debugging. There's a guide linked below that walks through complete workflows for how to collect and analyze environmental data with sensor kits. These kits teach authentic environmental science methodology, hypothesis formation, controlled measurement, multivariate data analysis, and conclusion drawing based on statistical patterns. Skill-building focus includes multi-parameter correlation analysis, statistical significance concepts, experimental design with controlled variables, scientific writing and reporting, data quality validation, understanding sensor limitations and environmental interference. Lab specs get more involved. Computer with Arduino IDE or Python environment installed, stable outdoor deployment location or portable field kit configuration, solar panel or AC power for continuous monitoring, SD card for local data logging, cloud platform subscription for some systems like Adafruit.io or ThingSpeak. Verify costs. Complete systems typically run $150 to $400, depending on sensor suite. Consumables and reagents. Water quality kits require pH test strips, dissolved oxygen reagents, and calibration solutions, often $30 to $60 quarterly. Soil testing kits need replacement test materials. Even electronic sensors eventually require replacement after environmental exposure degradation. Subscription fees. Some platforms charge for cloud data storage beyond free tiers. Adafruit.io, for example, offers free accounts with data rate limits that citizen science projects often exceed, requiring around $10 monthly for Plus subscriptions. ThingSpeak has similar tiering. Verified data retention policies. Some free tiers delete data after 30 days. Expansion and upgrade costs. As skills develop, can you add sensors incrementally, or must you replace the entire platform? Modular systems cost more initially, but provide better long-term learning path progression. There's a link below for how to design a progressive STEM learning path that walks through framework thinking here. Software licenses. Most citizen science platforms use open source software, but some data analysis tools require paid licenses once free student versions expire. Verify whether recommended analysis tools remain accessible as your child advances. Power costs. Continuous monitoring stations drawing AC power add to electricity bills. Solar charging systems avoid this, but have higher upfront costs. The durability question matters enormously for repeated use. Will sensors survive outdoor deployment through a full year of weather? I've seen cheaper temperature sensors fail after one winter season, while research-grade alternatives last 5 years. The per-year cost calculation completely reverses. The best environmental monitoring kits for citizen science, there's a roundup linked below, include detailed long-term cost breakdowns and durability specifications. Manufacturers transparent about ownership costs inspire more confidence than those hiding consumable requirements. Next, verify connection to authentic research databases and learning outcomes. This step separates genuine citizen science from isolated data collection exercises. The motivational power of contributing to actual research cannot be overstated. I've seen previously disengaged students transform when they understand professional scientists will use their observations. Evaluate each kit's research ecosystem. Established database integration. Does collected data feed directly into recognized research platforms? iNaturalist for biodiversity observations, eBird for ornithology, Globe for environmental monitoring, Zooniverse for various classification projects. Direct integration provides immediate validation and shows students exactly how their work contributes. Data quality standards. What validation does the platform provide? Some systems flag suspect data for review, teaching students about quality control. Others accept all submissions without verification, missing crucial learning about scientific rigor. Researcher interaction. Do students receive feedback from professional scientists? Some programs offer seasonal webinars where researchers present findings derived from citizen science contributions. This connection to actual science practice proves invaluable for students considering STEM careers. Publication potential. Advanced projects sometimes lead to student co-authorship on research papers. While rare, knowing the possibility exists motivates different engagement levels. Career pathway visibility. Does the kit use industry standard tools? Arduino programming translates directly to professional embedded systems work. Python-based data analysis builds skills used in climate science, epidemiology, and countless research fields. Water quality testing protocols mirror environmental consulting methodologies. This isn't abstract, it's showing your child what environmental scientists actually do daily. There's a link below explaining what citizen science for kids really means to understand the full spectrum of contribution types. Some projects need millions of simple observations, bird counts. Others need thousands of precise measurements, air quality networks. Neither is better. They serve different research questions and teach different skill sets. The learning outcome specificity matters. Avoid vague STEM skills or scientific thinking. Demand concrete capability milestones. Students will calibrate temperature sensors to plus or minus zero point 0.5 degrees Celsius accuracy. Students will identify 20 plus local bird species using dichotomous keys. Students will analyze time series data using spreadsheet graphing functions. Specificity indicates the kit developers understand learning progressions. Finally, test platform expandability and progressive learning integration. Your final selection criteria addresses how this kit fits into your child's longer-term STEM development trajectory. A common parent frustration: buying a kit that occupies your child for 3 months, then gets abandoned because there's nowhere to grow. Map the expansion pathway. Sensor modularity. Can you add additional sensors to the base platform? The microbit ecosystem exemplifies this beautifully. Start with basic temperature sensing, add soil moisture for garden monitoring, integrate light sensors for comparing sunny versus shaded microclimates, attach air quality sensors for pollution tracking. Each addition scaffolds new scientific concepts without requiring platform abandonment. Programming complexity progression. Does the kit support multiple programming approaches? Ideal platforms start with block-based coding, make code, Scratch, then provide migration paths to text-based languages, MicroPython, Arduino, C++. This mirrors how transitioning from block-based to text-based robot programming works in robotics education. There's a guide for that linked below. Project complexity scaling. Can students move from guided projects to independent research design? Look for kits offering structured starter projects. Follow these steps to monitor soil moisture. Intermediate challenges: design an experiment comparing 2 locations. And finally, open-ended research framing. Identify an environmental question, design appropriate measurement protocols, collect data, analyze results. Cross-domain integration. How does this kit connect to other learning tools in your home lab? Can microbit environmental data trigger LEGO STEM robotic responses? Build an automated plant watering system responding to soil moisture readings. Can collected data feed into machine learning projects? Train models to predict temperature patterns. These integrations transform isolated activities into cohesive STEM skill development. There are links below for both LEGO STEM education and how to build machine learning models with kids. Community and competition pathways. Does the platform have student competitions, science fair project templates, or online communities where students share advanced projects? Knowing other students are doing sophisticated work with the same tools provides motivation and concrete examples of what's possible. The Best Citizen Science Kits for Kids Roundup, linked below, provides specific expansion pathway comparisons across leading platforms. Pay particular attention to which kits dead end versus which integrate into broader STEM learning ecosystems. Consider whether the kit prepares students for next-level tools. Water quality testing experience positions students for advanced hydrology coursework. Air quality monitoring using research-grade sensors introduces the same equipment used in environmental consulting. Bioacoustic monitoring teaches audio analysis skills applicable to everything from wildlife research to acoustic engineering. The skill-building investment framework matters more than the immediate project. You're not buying something to do this summer, you're purchasing a stepping stone in a multi-year capability development path leading toward genuine STEM career readiness. Now for some pro tips and common mistakes. The calibration visibility mistake. Many parents select kids without verifying whether the calibration process is age-appropriate. Research-grade sensors requiring 3-point calibration curves against certified standards overwhelm 10-year-olds, while auto-calibrating sensors prevent older students from understanding measurement accuracy concepts. Match calibration complexity to developmental readiness. ignoring offline capability. Cloud-dependent platforms seem impressive until internet outages stop data collection mid-project. For field deployments, prioritize kits with robust local data logging and periodic upload synchronization. The frustration of losing a week's data because Wi-Fi went down destroys project momentum completely. Underestimating time requirements. Citizen science demands consistency. Daily measurements, weekly calibrations, monthly data analysis sessions. This isn't a weekend hobby. Before purchasing, honestly assess whether your family schedule supports the required time investment. A simple observation journal maintained consistently beats an abandoned sensor network. The most sensors trap. Parents often gravitate toward kits measuring the most parameters, assuming more data equals better learning. Wrong. Students learn far more from deeply understanding one parameter, tracking temperature variations across microclimates, analyzing patterns, forming hypotheses, than superficially monitoring 7 variables they don't actually comprehend. Seasonal timing blindness. Starting a phenology project in November when plants go dormant, or a weather monitoring project during your region's most stable season, missing the dramatic patterns, wastes learning opportunities. Launch citizen science projects when natural variation provides rich data and clear patterns. Pro insight from classroom experience. The most successful citizen science projects I've observed share one characteristic. Students formulate their own research question using the provided tools. Kits offering structured guidance for initial projects, then stepping back to let students design investigations, build far deeper engagement than those providing only follow-the-manual activities. Check kit reviews specifically for mentions of technical support quality. When sensors fail, and they will, when software won't connect, when data looks inexplicably wrong, responsive manufacturer support transforms frustration into learning opportunities. Companies offering detailed troubleshooting guides, active user forums, and actual email or chat support prove their commitment to student success. Let's cover some frequently asked questions. What age should my child be before starting citizen science projects with monitoring kits? Your child can begin contributing to citizen science as early as age 6 with observation-based projects like bird counting or nature photography submissions to iNaturalist, but sensor-based monitoring kits requiring programming typically become appropriate around age 9 or 10 once they've developed basic computational thinking through block-based coding exposure and understand systematic data collection discipline. The readiness marker isn't age alone, it's whether they can follow multi-step procedures independently, maintain consistent observation schedules, and understand that measurement tools require calibration and have accuracy limits, which for most students develops during the 4th or 5th grade year. Can citizen science kids work with Chromebooks, or do we need a full computer? Most entry-level citizen science kits using Microbit or Circuit Playground Express work perfectly with Chromebooks through browser-based programming environments like MakeCode, requiring only a USB port for device connection. But Arduino-based environmental monitoring platforms often struggle with Chrome OS due to driver limitations and requiring Arduino IDE installation, so verify specific kit Chrome OS compatibility before purchasing if Chromebooks are your primary devices. Manufacturers increasingly support browser-based programming, but research-grade sensor platforms still predominantly expect Windows or Mac OS systems with full driver installation capabilities. How do we know if the data our child collects is actually being used by scientists? Legitimate citizen science projects provide clear data usage documentation showing which research publications have incorporated citizen scientist contributions, often linking to peer-reviewed papers acknowledging the program. And most established platforms like eBird, iNaturalist, and Globe Observer publish annual reports detailing exactly how submitted data informed specific research questions. Look for projects that provide data dashboards showing your child's observations in context of the larger data set, offer researcher interaction opportunities through webinars or newsletters, and have been operating for multiple years with documented scientific output, rather than new projects without established research partnerships. Do citizen science kits require ongoing subscription fees, or are they one-time purchases? The subscription model varies dramatically across citizen science platforms. Observation-based projects like bird counting or plant phenology tracking typically have zero ongoing costs beyond the initial field guide purchase, while sensor-based environmental monitoring kits may require cloud data storage subscriptions ranging from free tiers with data limits to around $10 to $15 monthly for unlimited storage and advanced analytics features, plus consumable costs for water quality testing reagents or replacement sensors that degrade through environmental exposure. So calculate complete 12-month ownership costs, including platform subscriptions, consumables, calibration materials, and power requirements, rather than focusing only on initial kit purchase price. So, to wrap this up, learning how to choose a citizen science kit transforms your approach from what looks interesting to systematic capability matching. You now have a framework assessing your child's current research competencies, identifying appropriate next-generation science standards practices for their developmental stage, evaluating technical compatibility across your existing infrastructure, matching kit complexity to current skills while ensuring expandability, calculating true ownership costs, verifying authentic research contribution pathways, and integrating the kit into progressive learning sequences. The selection process prioritizes skill-building milestones over flashy features. Sensor calibration understanding matters more than sensor quantity. Programming progression pathways outweigh initial coding simplicity, and contribution to actual research databases provides motivation no isolated data collection can match. Start with honest capability assessment, demand specific learning outcomes, verify expansion possibilities, and choose platforms preparing your child for industry-standard research methodologies rather than simplified approximations. That's it for this episode of the STEM Lab podcast. Thanks for listening all the way through. We'll be back with another episode on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you've always got something new to dig into. If this episode helps you think differently about choosing citizen science tools, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. It genuinely makes a difference in helping other parents find the show when they're searching for real, practical STEM education advice instead of just marketing fluff. And hey, hit that subscribe or follow button so you get notified the second new episodes drop. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.